The year was 2002. The play was Tall Tales, and the character was Schoolgirl 1. This was my first foray into fame and stardom. I had a large speaking role, and I also sung. Then, in 2004, the play was Taming of the Shrew. I was Bianca, who, while people will say that Catherine is the leading lady in Taming of the Shrew, she's a shrew, so she can't be the leading lady. The star has to be nice, and that was Bianca. Then, 5th grade, it was a play that my teacher invented called A Night to Remember, K-N-I-G-H-T, because it was about knights and princesses, and I was a princess, and I sung yet another starring role. So at this point, coupled with my parents' support, I was pretty confident in myself, and I thought that fame was not a question of if, it was a question of when. But then, middle school, and I was auditioning for the spring musical because everybody knew that the fall play was lame, and nobody goes to the middle school fall play, it's all about the spring musical. And so, I'd done my acting audition, it was for Grease, and so I'm chilling in the back room waiting to go sing that ending song, We Belong Together, or whichever one it is, and I noticed some 8th grade girls drinking tea. And I think that's so cute. You think tea can replace talent? Like, and so I get up there, and I sing, and I think I do fabulously, but this is how deep my voice is. And it doesn't get much higher, and it doesn't get much deeper, and it's been like this for a while. So I can't actually sing. So I don't get a part in the cast, and I don't even get a part in the chorus. Because even though the chorus doesn't require any amount of acting or any amount of confidence in public speaking, you just have to be able to carry a tune, and I can't do that. So I was probably the only one of my friends to not get a part in Grease, and while I definitely was soul crushed for a little bit, I still had this strange belief that one day I was going to be famous, and it was just going to come, and I was going to affect people, and people were going to know me. So I kind of, let go of the dream of singing. It was pretty obvious after a few recess American Idol offs that I really couldn't sing. And I decided, you know what, there's another way. And so thus began my obsession with becoming famous on social media. So YouTube was a big thing, and people, normal, regular people, not people with connections, like average Joes were becoming famous, like jaw-droppingly famous, like Justin Bieber and Soulja Boy, like two just so famous from literally nothing. And I was like, I can do this, but I can't sing. But I was weird, and I thought I was funny. And so I realized one day in class that I have very dexterous thumbs. And if I put it like this, it looks like a face. And I actually have them drawn here because I was trying to face swap with it recently. It did not work. And so I called it thumb syncing because I would move my thumb like so, and it would look like my hand was talking, and I would play a Kelly Clarkson track because she was in middle school, and it would look like my hand was singing that song. My parents thought it was hilarious, so I got a lot of brown yarn and I taped it to my hand, and then I got googly eyes because, this was for YouTube, so pen would not suffice for eyes. And I made a couple videos in my Kelly Clarkson thumb syncing episode. And I waited for the inevitable fame to come, and it didn't. And I never really knew why, but now I'm realizing that my privacy settings were extremely high because I had very strict parents who would not let me put videos like that on the internet. So that was middle school. Come high school, I got a little involved in academics, but through this whole thing, I wasn't really concerned that, I wasn't really, trying for fame. I thought, you know what, someone's gonna discover you. And so, it keeps going on this way until I get to college, where my sophomore year, all of a sudden, we're talking about internships and stuff, and I realized that, shit, I am just going to be another cog in the business wheel. And nobody's gonna know my name except for maybe my boss and a few coworkers, and I'm just gonna work until I die and literally affect nobody. And it depressed the hell out of me. But I realized that, you know what, I am smart, and so I'm gonna get famous using my brain. And so I had this internship at a marketing firm, and so I utilized their very extensive resources to figure out what was the most popular trending things on BuzzFeed that got the most comments and, the most shares. Because, everybody was getting famous on Instagram, and at this point, I really knew I couldn't sing. I also knew I wasn't hot enough to be a butt model. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for humor. And I realized through my research that the two most popular things on BuzzFeed are the Kardashians and SpongeBob, Patrick Star, those types of references. And so, mid-research at work, I am looking at two BuzzFeed windows open next to each other on my small monitor, and I see that Kanye West and Patrick Star have very similar facial expressions. And I was like, oh my God, all I have to do is create an Instagram account where I switch out Kanye West's face and put in Patrick Star's face, and so it's pictures of Kim Kardashian and Patrick Star, and that is how I become famous. And so I began this Instagram account called Kim Rick Star. It is still active, you can look it up. I don't add to it frequently, but there's some good content there. I began to become obsessed with this. I was at a marketing firm, so they had fabulous Photoshop tools. I taught myself Photoshop for the sole purpose of running this, this fake Instagram account. And I started to get a lot of likes, partially because I'd made it my cover photo and told all my friends, at Kim Rick Star, go follow me on Instagram. And some of my friends thought it was kind of funny, like Kim and Patrick Star kissing. And so I started to get followers, and I remember there was this one point when I went from 200 followers to 300 followers kind of quickly. And I screenshotted, my home base and sent it to everyone like, guys, it's happening. Somebody from Kim Kardashian's crew or the SpongeBob Nickelodeon Center is gonna call me and be like, can we interview you? Can we do a photo shoot with you? This is amazing. But I have a 15-year-old sister who posts pictures of absolutely nothing hilarious. And I, for some reason, decided to look at her account. I never should have. And I realized she has 7 times the followers that my funny account had, gets 1 billion likes on every picture, and tons of comments. And she was way more famous on Instagram than my strategically planned funny account ever was. And so this was a low. I really thought that, it's not gonna happen, Sophie. You're just gonna die and be Sophie, and nobody will ever really be affected by you. And so I kind of let it go. And then WashU had this awesome summit where they brought in a lot of speakers from the TV and music and film industry. And I remember asking a question, because they were all joking about oh, you gotta start in the mailroom. And I was like, is this some sort of euphemism I don't understand? Do you actually work in the mailroom? What? And they were like, yeah. If you want to be in these industries, you will deliver mail. And I thought to myself that, I don't know if I actually want to be famous anymore, because if it's going to take me valuing myself so little where right out of college, I'm literally delivering people's mail, a skill that I'm pretty sure monkeys can do, maybe this wasn't the industry for me. And so at that point I realized that, this was silly, this is the stuff of childhood, Sophie, grow up. But I was listening to a Aziz Ansari podcast the other day, and he talked about how easy it is to get into stand-up. And he was saying that really a lot of comedy clubs host open mic nights that let people, really terrible comedians, people with no experience, get up and do their thing. And he said that if you just keep working it and you just build relationships and keep going, that you could probably break into comedy. So while I have put my Instagram and social media fame on the back burner, I have definitely researched the comedy clubs in Boston where I'll be next year. And I've definitely prepared a few jokes, maybe. So I just wanted to end with that. If any of you are in Boston, I'll let you into my extremely packed comedy show for free if you mention that you met me here. So, thank you.